The following is a video presentation of a morning worship service at Orrville Baptist Church.
start off with the reading of His Word. Romans chapter 12, verse 1 through 5. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according to God hath dealt to every man the measure of faith. For as have many members in one body, and all members that not the same office, so we being many are one body in Christ, and every one members of another.
Good morning. Welcome to Orrville Baptist. We are excited to be together and worship this morning. It's going to be quick. We got a decent amount to say and get through this morning. First, I was going to go through a couple of announcements. You'll notice in the back of your bulletin tomorrow is Labor Day. Who's got big plans? Y'all all be forward. The church office will be closed, so if you come up here, enjoy the sun. If you call up here, enjoy the answering machine. So the church office will be closed. If you need anything, get in touch with one of us. Your cell phone, probably your best bet. Please remember, today is taking up food for AIM. If anyone wants to talk to me after church, we'd like to volunteer and take that to AIM. Be happy to give that responsibility. And then also continue to remember our food pantry. I want to keep saying it every week, and some weeks are busier than others. And I would say this past week we took a huge hit, which is a good thing. We had a lot of food given out. Really the past 2 weeks, but specifically this last week, we gave a lot of food out. What a tremendous blessing it is for us to be able to provide that food. And then on top of that, every Tuesday, keep plugging away. Concord is coming down. We're partnering with them and feeding the hungry, the needy, and some of the homeless in our area every Tuesday at 4:30. There have been a lot of hungry stomachs filled at Orrville this week. A lot. Please come be a part of that. If you want to talk about some ideas for the food pantry that you might have, more than welcome to listen and for us to talk about some things. And then, of course, on Tuesdays, huge blessing for us to be able to give and for us to join the Concord. So there's a lot of opportunities. I hope that you'll pray and consider and think about. But this morning, we need to give God a lot of praise and come with thankful hearts for what He's been able to do through us in Concord this week. Because I'm telling you, many people who needed food got food this past week. What a tremendous blessing that is for us to be a part of that. As we do start the new church year, I want you to look at your prayer list. We've been talking about this for a while. What we're going to do for this new church year is, now some of the names on there that we know that we're going to keep. But essentially what we're going to do is remove names off the prayer list. The ones that we know for certain, homebound, stuff like NHC, that kind of thing, nursing homes, and people that we know we for sure need to be praying about. We're going to keep those names on there. But with the start of the new church year, we're going to basically start over. So here's what we're asking, basically. There's going to be some names on here that you're going to say, hey, that name don't need to go off. We might not know about it. Add it immediately if you'd like it right back home. So we're trying to keep up with a growing prayer list that, I don't want to say it's gotten out of control. It's a good thing that we're being able to pray for people. Something that will help us manage it a little bit better. And so over the next really couple of weeks, be looking and going through the prayer list. And then let us know if this week and then the next week. Call up to the office and an email and say, hey, this name needs to be on there for sure. Don't take it off, that kind of thing. So help us out with that. We're looking forward to you continue helping us manage the prayer list and, of course, going to God in prayer for these needs. Please keep in mind the two offerings that they're very specific that we need to be thinking about and praying about. Of course, the Janney Chapter State Mission offering. You see the totals of the back of the bulletin for that. And also our organ repair fund. If you would like to contribute, just drop a little envelope, put organ repair. Anything you'd like to put on it, let us know that's what that money is to go to. That'll help us out with covering the organ repair costs. most, and I mean the most incredible stories I've ever heard in my life revolves around a man that is largely ignored and largely unknown. His name is Nicholas Winton. Has anyone ever heard of this man? Raise your hand if you know Nicholas Winton. No one? No one else knows Nicholas Winton. It's a very odd thing. In fact, I've spent the majority of my life not knowing who this man is. And it's, I think this is probably everywhere in the world. It's the same kind of reaction. Never really heard that name. Nothing really stands out to me. It's not a household name. Mr. Winton passed away about 2 years ago. There was an event in his life that changed the lives of thousands of people today. Something that this man did. In fact, there are actual generations of families that are alive because of this man. During the Second World War, Mr. Nicholas Winton, he organized a rescue for Jewish children who would likely be killed during the Holocaust. Who's seen the movie Schindler's List? It's an incredible film about Oscar Schindler. In a very similar manner, Mr. Nicholas Winton organized rescue attempts for Jewish children during World War II. All in all, with the help of some other people, he was able to rescue 669 children from concentration camps, from facing concentration camps. Got them over to the Netherlands for safety. If it were not for Winton, who knows what would have happened to nearly 700 Jewish children. We know what would most likely would have happened to their lives. And because of his service, these children were saved. When he was asked about his efforts later in life, he would not even take the credit for it. He said it should be the people who helped me that should receive the praise. Refused to even acknowledge that it was him that put it together. And just to make this story even more heartfelt, what's amazing to me is Winton did not want any publicity for his work. There was 50 years of silence where most of the world had no idea what this man had done. It took over 50 years for his service to come to light, for what he had done during World War II. Most of the world has no idea what this man has done, and still today, his name is not a household name, and his legacy is incredible. You can find this if you're technologically savvy and know how to operate YouTube. You can go to YouTube and just type in Nicholas Winton. It'll be one of the first few results, I assure you. I forget the name of the television program. I know it's on BBC. Nicholas Winton is brought on to this TV show as a member of the audience. It's like a host who talks about certain subjects, and he thinks that he's going on to show some of his memorabilia, to show some things that he had from World War II. He thinks that's why he's being asked to be on the show. And at one point, he opens his list, and he has a list dating from World War II that is all the children that he helped save. And even in that moment, he's still being humble. He doesn't put credit. He's just showing the host what he has as he sits in the audience. She's showing to the camera and says, "Look here." And then he comes to one female name. He says, "Do you remember this girl?" And, he says, "There's so many names. I don't remember exactly." But he says, "If you look to your left, the little girl that you saved is sitting beside you in the audience." And he just looks at her, and you see the tears coming, and they hold hands. It's just emotionally gripping that they set all that up just so that he could meet the little girl that he helped save. And you hear that, and you say, "Oh my goodness, that makes me want to cry. That's just amazing. That's incredible." And then the host says, "Wait 1 second, Mr. Winton. You can find this is on YouTube. You can find this." Because is there anyone else in the audience here who owes their life to Mr. Winton? And about 5 rows of people all behind him, all stand up. And he looks back in amazement and sees these people, these children now grown up, standing before him. They have life because of his service to them. And this frail, humble, elderly man with these giant glasses bigger than mine is sitting in his chair, wiping the tears from his eyes. It's just this emotional moment where you see a man who wanted no credit, wanted no praise for himself. And it's so inspiring to see the fruit of that labor literally in the same room with him because of his work. He wanted to save lives. He risked danger to himself and to others so that other people may live. His service was seen as an act that could benefit others and not himself. It's an amazing testament to humble service. And I think one of the great tragedies of the church today is motive for service. The motive for service. We often find ourselves saying, I want to do more. At the talk last week, this is a continuation of last week's sermon pretty much. Part 2 of Peter's personal ministry. Well, see, I want to do more, I want to serve more, I want to use my gifts more, and yet our hearts are in the wrong place as we see those things. And my prayer is that we never stop saying, I want to serve more. My prayer is that our mindset and our heart is also in the right spot, the right motive. What is our motive? A helpful question for us to ask in service. It's very easy to fall into the trap of where we want to serve and how we justify our service. It's a very dangerous game that we play. The Bible speaks directly to this. The Scriptures say that one day people will stand before God. And they'll say, here's the things that I did, Lord. Did I not prophesy in your name? Did I not do these things? And God will say, I have no idea who you are. Depart from me. I have no idea who you are. People doing things in the name of God, in the name of service, but never pure service. Always to try to feel good. A lot of times that's the motive for our service, that I might feel better. What a strange paradox. Doing something for others that you might feel better for yourself. And many times that's the trap that we fall under. Wanting to feel justified by the things that we do. The most horrifying of the words, depart from me, I never knew you, is reserved for those people. Scary. We're closing Acts chapter 9. We need to be thinking about this form of service. Why do we do what we do? Why do we serve? Why do we have good works? Why is Peter traveling and doing personal ministry? To feel good or to serve? To see Christ at work for the benefit of others. Peter is not wasting his life one iota. He's a busy man. He's constantly moving. In his quote-unquote spare time, he's doing personal ministry, which we learned last week. In his travels, he proclaims the goodness of Christ. As we witnessed last Sunday, he heals a paralyzed man, much similar to the way Christ healed a paralyzed man. You see an imitation of Christ in that portrait, in that healing. There's a man who did not perform miracles and healing in his own name, but said it is the power of Christ. It is through him that these things happen. It is Christ at work and not myself. The truth should be the same for each of us. To be true for the entirety of the church, for the national church, for the world church. Christ's work, not our own. Perhaps it's more appropriate for us to say that we should desire Christ at work through us, not just we want to work. Many times we want busyness. We don't want to be busy. That's not the point. We want to see Christ at work in our lives. All this brings us to the last section of chapter 9, a continuation of sorts of Peter's personal ministry, as I said. I wanted to do both scenes last week, and I'm thankful that I did not have time, honestly. I'm very thankful I did not have time. Because this past week, I've had some extra time to kind of go back and look, and I've seen some things that I may have missed, or God has illuminated me, or illuminated some things in me to see some things that I may have gotten not wrong, but skipped over. So I'm very thankful that happened, that I ran out of time last week. I've had a chance to look in this text even more and see the beauty of Christ's work in Peter. So let's pick up to verse 36, where we stopped last week. We'll continue on the story of Peter's personal ministry. I'll give you a moment to turn there. You're still getting there. And keep in mind through all of this, we're still seeing the gospel gearing up to go to the world, right? theme of Acts throughout all this. We're seeing those lines being drawn. We've seen Jews, Hellenistic Jews, proselytes. And now we're starting to get dangerously close to this ministry to the Gentiles. This ministry to the world, really culminating in chapter 10, as we'll see in the following weeks. We're going to hear and see some similar elements to last week. And then also some new things that we consider. Let's go ahead and finish chapter 9 by starting in verse 36. Here's what verse 36 of Acts 9 says. Now in Joppa there was a disciple named Tabitha, which translated in Greek is called Dorcas. This woman was abounding with deeds of kindness and charity, which she continually did. Now, we don't know much about Tabitha. We really don't. We don't have a whole lot of information on Tabitha. I don't know her age. I have no idea how old she is. I don't know her background. I don't know what she looks like. I don't know her family situation, other than she has a church family. Here's what I do know. I know what Luke calls her. Luke calls Tabitha a disciple. Like many languages, Greek, it also has nouns that take a masculine and feminine form. I think this is something I don't want to look over. This is the only, hear me out, this is the only instance in all of the New Testament, in which the word disciple is found in feminine form. Tabitha gets that right. That's big. That's a very big deal. It's not saying that other women were not disciples. That's not what's going on here at all. Don't take it that way. Understand what Luke is saying about Tabitha. This is a real deal. Tabitha does not mess around. She's a Christ follower. She understands the sacrificial life. She understands saving faith. When Luke calls Tabitha a disciple, you are looking at the one time you see that word used in a feminine form. That's big. Big deal. It should tell us what we think about Tabitha. The point is Luke is being very specific here to let us know who she is. She's a servant. She's humble. She's sacrificial. She's full of love. She's full of kindness. She's a giving woman. She considers others over herself. Patient, caring. The love of Christ is evident in her faith and in her walk. My translation says that she was abounding in kindness and charity. The King James says she was full of good works. Full. That's the most literal translation you'll get. Full. Straight to the point. She was full of good works. What a surprise. What a surprise there. A person full of the Spirit is also full of good works. Imagine that. Imagine that. Who would have thought? A person full of the Spirit would also be full of good works. Biblically, when we search the Scriptures, understand this is the norm. In the New Testament, to be full of the Spirit is to also be full of good works. Today's age, it seems that is not so much the case, or at least seemingly the case. You see, biblically, they are one and the same. Fullness of the Spirit brings about a fullness of works. This will be even more convenient as we continue to find out how Tabitha has been serving. But consider the following from James 2, verse 14. What use is it, my brethren, if someone says he has faith, but he has no works? Can that faith save him? If a brother or a sister is without clothing and in need of daily food, and one of you says to them, go in peace, be warmed, be filled, and yet you do not give them what is necessary for their body, what use is that? Verse 17, even so faith, if it has no works, is dead, being by itself. There's a lot of people today that they're full of it, all right, but it's not the Spirit, it's not works. They're full of something, that's for sure. It's heartbreaking how much we find optional today. Options of our faith. The Great Commission, discipleship, worship, yes, even good works. All optional for the Christian life. Biblically, a Christianity without missions, without discipleship, without good works, without Christ working in the life of the believer, well, let's not pull punches. Without those things, there is no Christianity at all. As we search the Scriptures, we see these as natural byproducts of saving faith. They are evidences of faith. And to be empty stupidity of them is to say there is no faith at all. We can say whatever we would like to try to justify the lack of these things, but it's awfully inconvenient when we search the Scriptures and see very clearly that these are aspects of following Christ. There is no debate. None. Tabitha is labeled a disciple here, and then immediately we learn of her faithfulness and her fullness of good works and kindness. And so the question remains, can someone be a follower of Christ and be without good works? No. I say it very clearly and very boldly, no. We may not like that answer, but no. According to James, that is called dead faith. Dead, empty. It's not good works that lead to saving faith. It's the opposite. Genuine, saving faith leads to a fullness of good works. Naturally, it's like breathing. It should come to our lives through the power of Christ. People hear this all the time. They get all nervous. Might start saying, well, Pastor, you're teaching salvation by works. Again, it's backwards. It's not at all what I teach. I would never preach and teach that people are saved by their good works. But like Tabitha, our works and our deeds, our very existence, our very walk, our life, it shows evidence of our saving faith. True Christianity shows this fruit. If serving is a burden, if works are never seen, if our prayer life is defined of sitting down for a cheeseburger and starting off with God is great, God is good, let us thank Him for our food, and that's the only prayer life we have in our existence, I'm not a Christian. How can you say that, Trey? Pastor Trey, I'm not. Let it on James, take it up with him. It says faith, none of these things, no evidence of these things is dead. It is emptiness. It is death. To live as a disciple of Christ is to live the crucified life. A life of sacrifice. And what a tremendous reminder we have of that in Tabitha. What a great, great reminder we have of that in Tabitha. I'm so thankful for her testimony to the early church. And it being recorded here in Scripture. What a beautiful, beautiful thing. Look with me to verse 37. And it happened at the time that she fell sick and died, and when they had washed her body, they laid it in an upper room. Since Lydda was near Joppa, the disciples, having heard that Peter was there, sent 2 men to him, imploring him, "Do not delay in coming to us." So Peter arose and went with them. When he arrived, they brought him into the upper room, and all the widows stood beside him, weeping and showing all the tunics and garments that Dorcas or Tabitha used to make while she was with them. Well, first off, there's your prosperity gospel blown up in one verse. We don't even need to look at it. What do we know about Tabitha? Pure disciple. A true and pure follower of Christ. And what happens to her? She gets sick and dies. Blows up that prosperity gospel right there. Christians, and, well, I should say Christians, charlatans, promoting money and good health and become a Christian and send in that seed offering, blah, blah, blah. Look what happens to a true disciple. Tabitha just wrecked that whole mindset. Follower of Christ and got sick and passed away. Humble, lowly Tabitha has a true saving faith, and yet we see what happened to her. I'll get off of that before I get on to a rant, but I think there's something really fascinating happening here. What happened to Tabitha's body? They immediately went in and washed her body, going along with purity rites and rituals. But it was customary that when a person would die, they would be buried almost immediately. Never more than 24 hours. Went back to original law, being passed down. Wash the body, bury the body, then mourn. And you were never allowed to mourn before the person had passed. Something different is happening here. Because what do they do with it? They put her in an upper room. I have a little bit of a different interpretation of Acts 9 than some of commentators and other people that I've read on this section, I don't see what they see here. I see something else different happening here. That for whatever reason is never really mentioned. So when Tabitha dies, they go out and immediately bury her? No, they place her in the upper room. That should make our radar go off a little bit. What are they doing with their tradition? What are they doing with their custom about clean and unclean? What are they doing here? The disciples here, they hear that Joppa, the disciples here in Joppa, they hear that Peter's somewhat nearby. Isn't that curious? That Apostle Peter? Yeah, he's nearby. He's only about 10 miles away. So they're going to fetch Peter. Now this is strange to me. There should be something going off in our ears right now saying, well, wait. What are they truly getting at here? What are they actually trying to do? Do you see anything developing? Again, what a testimony to Tabitha. The church body here in Joppa, they find her irreplaceable. Oh my goodness, what are we going to do? She's just done so much. We don't know how we're supposed to do next. Peter's nearby. See if we can go get him. Maybe he can help us out. And when Peter gets there, they're just standing there holding their garments, crying. I don't know what to do. Look what she did. I read one commentator who said that they were just so upset because now they didn't know who was going to keep providing garments for them. I don't think that's what's happening here. I don't think that's what's happening here at all. I think they're mourning. I think they're expectant that God is on the move. That Peter is going to do something. We know the truth. We're all replacing. But that's the kind of impact that Tabitha had on this church. I'm not trying to be morbid at all for just a moment, but if I went home and I died today, guess what? You form a search committee and find another shepherd. And church life goes on. The same is true for all of us. Any role we have. It needs to be next man up in the church. But you see the kind of impact that Tabitha had. They were so upset. Didn't let go of her. And here's what I truly wanted to get at through all of this. Here's what I really, really wanted to get at. The church didn't come to a halt here in Joppa. I see a church expecting God to move. They didn't go right away and bury Tabitha. They washed her. They didn't go right away and bury her. Why would they even want to get Peter to come in the first place? What's Peter going to do? What could Peter possibly do? I'm so sorry for your loss, church. I'm very sorry. I pray good things happen to you. I pray that you replace this role, and I pray that God does great things for your church. It was nice meeting you all, and I'll see you later. No, they didn't want Peter there just to come for that. They wouldn't travel around 10 miles to go bring him. And he said yes, and he came. They expected God to do something through Peter, the apostle. They don't bury her, they place her in the upper room, and they go get Peter. They know something can happen. They know it. Otherwise, not burying her and going to get Peter is completely pointless. There are people who expect something. I think of Abraham and Isaac when I read this passage, honestly. I really do. The story of Abraham and Isaac is what I think of whenever I go through the raising of Tabitha. Abraham was told to sacrifice his one and only son Isaac. And he faithfully was going to go through with it. And we later read in Scripture why he was going to do it, because he believed God would bring him back from the dead. Abraham had a faith that said, God will provide my son once more. He will bring him back. That's why he was able to go through with it. I believe this church was mourning the loss of a dear disciple and ran to Peter, expecting God to bring her back. They heard of the wonderful things that Christ was doing for the apostles, and they had this faith that Christ would work once more in bringing Tabitha to them. What a tribute to a church that lives by faith. That's how expectant they were of Christ's power. A church that lives expectantly, expecting God to do incredible things. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, God is in the resurrection business. This is what He does. This is what He has done and continues to do. Now, before you think I'm strictly talking about Tabitha, I want you to bear with me. Because there's something even better happening here. Everyone hears this story and says, boy, the church today, they need more people like Peter. Boy, the church today, they need more Tabithas. We need more people like Peter and like Tabitha who can do these wonderful things, and we try to model our lives after them and all that. Listen, as they imitate Christ, we imitate them. I get that. I understand that. Paul said that. Imitate me as I imitate Christ. And so we try these models of people, but really the story is not about Peter. I hate to break people, but Acts 9 is not about Peter. Acts 9 is not about Tabitha. It's about Christ. It's about the power of God. It's about what He's doing in the church. Peter sent them all out and knelt down and prayed, and turning to the body, he said, Tabitha, arise. This is in verse 40. And she opened her eyes, and when she saw Peter, she sat up. And he gave her his hand and raised her up, and calling the saints and widows, he presented her alive. It became known all over Joppa, and many believed in the Lord. And Peter stayed many days in Joppa with a tanner named Simon. I asked myself about this text. I don't know if anyone has even got confused here yet, but I struggle with stuff like this a lot in Scripture. A lot. My number one question when I see a resurrection like this, especially with Tabitha, is why does God even want to do it in the first place? Why? I do not know. This is pure speculation. I can only imagine. Because I believe that when you die, you go to heaven if you're a Christian. As Jesus said, they will be in paradise. I believe that happens. I don't know what kind of conversation God had with Tabitha. Welcome, Tabitha. You faithful servant. We're so glad to have you, but you're going back here a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what that was like. I have no idea. And that's for that reason I ask you, why would He even allow resurrection to happen? If they're truly followers of Christ, why they want her back? Should they not be praising and leaping in joy, knowing that she's with her Savior? That's where my head goes when I read this. We get so wrapped up on those questions, and I'm so guilty of it. We get wrapped up on the signs, we get wrapped up on the miracles, and yet we forget their purpose once more. I do this all the time. To forget the reason these things truly happen. You don't have to turn there, you can just listen. But from Matthew 27, for whatever reason, I don't understand it, we all do it. There's something that happens at the crucifixion, and for whatever reason, we just skip over it. It's a surprise to a lot of people. We just gloss over it and pretend it's not there. Starting in verse 50 of Matthew 27, here's what we read at Jesus' crucifixion. And Jesus cried out again with a loud voice and yielded up His spirit. And behold, the veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth shook and the rocks were split. Verse 52, the tombs were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tombs after His resurrection, they entered the holy city and appeared to many. Now the centurion and those who were with him, keeping guard over Jesus, when they saw the earthquake and the things that were happening, became very frightened and said, truly, this was the Son of God. There's a life that happens through this power and this sacrifice and this life that is found in Christ, bringing the dead to life as a son. You see a resurrection happen after Christ's crucifixion. You see a proclamation from a guard that says this is the Son of God. The story of Tabitha isn't just a story about her own resurrection. It's a story about the power of God and His desire to save. Verse 42 once more. Very quick verse from Acts 9 that we just go straight over. It became known all over Joppa, and many believed in the Lord. Same as last week. Why are these things happening? Because God's in the resurrecting business, in the saving business. There's more than one resurrection happening here in Acts 9. It's not just Tabitha, it's a town going from death to life. Through the power of God in one church. Don't you see? is not just a resurrection of Tabitha, it's a resurrection of many. As they cross over in the future, promising how to eternal life through Christ, His way. All because one man was willing and able to go, be available, to be used. Why did God raise Tabitha from the dead? Because she was just irreplaceable in the church? No. Did they missed her so much? No. Did it make Peter feel good that he would actually be used? No. Did his power be put on display and many people would come to know who Christ is? Yes. It was given as a sign of the power of God. All because one man 10 miles away, they rushed to him and said, "Come quick, Peter." And there's no haste about to go straight to him. Has Christ not done the same to us and come to our rescue? Dead, sinners, trespasses beyond our own imagination we've done against God. And He's come to our rescue. And it wasn't just from 10 miles, it was from the echoes of eternity into our time, to put on flesh, to come to us. The hero of this story is Jesus, as in all of Scripture. He's the reason we breathe. He's the reason we have works. He is our resurrection. Because He is the resurrection, you are promised resurrection too. You know. We often get so preoccupied with all the things, all the little details that we often skip and miss out on the true hero of all the Scripture. It's not Peter, it's not Tabitha, it's Christ. In our pursuit of being more like Peter and more like Tabitha, let's not forget who they serve. Let's not forget who they model their life after, who they imitate. Let us pursue Christ at all costs. Let us be expectant people. We as a church should be expecting great things. He's done so much already. We don't quit that. Let us be people who want to see our neighbors know Him. Let us be people who see our works and our good deeds as gifts from God, and not something to be bottled up, but something to be used to advance the kingdom of God. You say to yourself, I want more good deeds, I want more service, I want to do more, and I ask you, why? Why do you want these things? As I ask myself at times, do I want them to feel like a better Christian? Or do I want them to put the splendor of Christ on display? Pursue the latter in all things. Here in this church and out in this world. Remember the mindset always being the people who are far from Him might come to know Him. Pursue good works out of our saving faith.